morning and many thanks for joining us on the news at dawn. I am Samuel Papawale. Ahead of our governorship election, Oyetola says defeat never an option. 4 killed as windstorm ravages houses in Yobe. G7 summit opens in Germany with Ukraine top on agenda. Now the news in details. Osun State Governor Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola is optimistic about his victory in the coming July 16 governorship election, saying defeat is never an option for him in the contest. He stated this while addressing members of Nigerian Incorporated Electoral Practitioners Osun State Chapter during an engagement meeting organized by the Civic Engagement Office in Osogbo. Governor Oyetola said that various efforts his administration had put into the development of the state would make the victory at the poll landslide one. Represented at the meeting, a special advisor on civic engagement, Honorable Olatobosun Oyintileye, Governor Oyetola noted that the alleged campaign of calumny by the opposition parties against his administration will not stop his victory. He said the laudable achievements his administration had achieved in all sectors in the state will be consolidated on if re-elected. The governor, however, urged the electorate to get the permanent voter card to support him in the coming election. Meanwhile, the campaign train for the re-election of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola for a second time in office moves to Ife East Central LCDA, Ife North, Ife Northwest LCDA, and Ife North Area Council. Today, the campaign train will see Governor Adegboyega Oyetola. The campaign train will see the governor accompanied by party leaders and opinion models in Modakeke visiting the palace of Ogusua of Modakeke to pay royal homage. At the area office, the governor will later address a public rally at St. Stephen Middle School, Modakeke, where he will lay bare the achievement of his administration in the over 3 years and of his administration and good Osun people should expect in his second term before market men and women, members of the general public, artisans and ethnic nationalities. On getting to Ife North local government, the governor will pay traditional homage to all royal fathers at the palace of Akpetu of Ikpetumodu before addressing the people of the town and environs at Oja Ikpetumodu. In the meantime, the Boyega Oyetola Campaign Council has called on all citizens of the state to continue to be law-abiding and go about their lawful duties while assuring them of government readiness to provide security and protection at all times. A 30-year-old man identified as Ebube Oba has allegedly killed a mother of two and a co-tenant during a fight at their residence. It was gathered that a quarrel had broken out between Oba and the deceased, whose name was given as Uzoamaka Ekpe, which later resulted in a fight. However, a press release by the State Police Command spokesperson DSP Tochukwu Ikenga revealed that the suspect had been arrested. Ikenga revealed that Ebube hit the victim on the chest and face with a fist blow before she collapsed and was rushed to the hospital before confirmed dead by a medical doctor. Meanwhile, the State Commissioner of Police CP Echen has advised members of the public not to yield to uncontrollable anger at all times, as it could be dangerous. 4 persons have been killed and several people injured, with no fewer than 35 houses destroyed in a windstorm that wreaked havoc on the Ashimeri ward of Damaturu, Yobe State. The windstorm, which lasted for only 20 minutes, according to reports, destroyed houses in the local settlement built with bricks. Confirming the development in newsman, the Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, Mohammed Goje, said that no death was recorded, but 17 persons were evacuated and are receiving free treatment at the State Specialist Hospital in Damaturu. Similarly, Damaturu residents lamented that such incident is almost an annual event and called on the government to provide a lasting solution to the issue. This is the news at dawn, coming to you from Osun State Broadcasting Corporation. Ileawie Okebale Oshogbo, Voice of the West. Now, a news message. Every morning is not just a new day but a new life. From this morning, you can start living a new life. The Catholic Diocese of Auchi yesterday said Reverend Father Christopher Odia was killed by his abductors after being kidnapped on Sunday morning at about 6:30 a.m. in his rectory. It was reported that Reverend Father Odia was going for Sunday Mass at St. Michael Catholic Church, Ikabigbo, Uzere, Edo State, when he was abducted. Until his death, Father Odia was the administrator of St. Michael Catholic Church, Ikabigbo, and also the principal of St. Philip Catholic Secondary School, Jato. He was aged 41. Father Odia's killing comes 24 hours after armed groups, locally known as bandits, killed a Catholic priest, Reverend Father Vitos Borogo, in Kaduna State. Zamfara State government has directed the State Police Commissioner, Mr. Ayuba Elkanah, to issue licenses to residents of the state who are qualified to use guns for self-defense. This was contained in a release by the Commissioner for Information, Honorable Ibrahim Magaji Dosara. This came in reaction to the rising rate of insecurity in the state. The state government also directed individuals to prepare and obtain guns to defend themselves against the bandits that have occupied almost all parts of the state. The statement noted that the government was very much ready to facilitate people, especially farmers in the rural area, to secure basic weapons for self-defense. He added that the government has already concluded arrangements to distribute 500 forms to each of the 19 emirates in the state for those willing to obtain guns for self-defense. According to the commissioner, a secretariat will be established for the collection of intelligence on the activities of informants supplying information to the bandits. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden and his counterpart from the world's most industrialized nations have gathered at Helmholtz Castle in the Bavarian Alps, Germany, before they continue on to Madrid for talks with NATO partners. Report says the issues such as a sustainable planet, economic stability and transformation, healthy lives, and sustainable investments will be discussed at the summit. The three-day event is taking place at Schloss Elmore in the Bavarian Alps, with its agenda considered more urgent than ever as the conflict in Ukraine continues. Having taken the G7 presidency from the UK in January, Germany has set a goal of progress towards an equitable world. To end the news at dawn, here again are the major points. Osun State Governor Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola is optimistic about his victory in the coming July 16 governorship election, saying defeat is never an option for him in the contest. 4 persons have been killed and several people injured, with no fewer than 35 houses destroyed in a windstorm that wreaked havoc on the Ashimere ward of Damaturu, Yobe State. U.S. President Joe Biden and his counterparts from the world's most industrialized nations have gathered at Elmore Castle in the Bavarian Alps, Germany, before they continue on to Madrid for talks with NATO partners. That was the news at dawn, edited by Nathaniel Oyegoke and delivered by Samuel Babawale. News Talk today leads us on a voyage around the features that make Hajj a unique pillar of Islam and a rallying platform for Muslims all over the world. It is written by Oluwatoyin Yusuf of our editorial desk.
Islam as a religion is anchored on 5 pillars, the 5th of which is Hajj, the spiritual journey to Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia. Just as a divine faith is expected to be, Islam has its rules, regulations, and ethics as dictated by Allah in the Quran. Consequently, Muslims are not left to wander about or grope in darkness and worship God the way they like. Each of the pillars has comprehensive mentions in the Quran, and one is not a good Muslim until they have lived according to dictates of God and not by their own whims and caprices. For 2 consecutive years, 2020 and 2021, Muslims around the world could not perform Hajj because of the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Saudi Arabian authorities put restrictions on the population of Muslims such that the restrictions cut participation from millions to a few thousands. But thanks to Allah that the siege is over. Hajj, as a spiritual journey, has a whole chapter dedicated to it in the Quran, which is chapter 22, Surah Al-Hajj. The chapter explains how Hajj is performed for it to be accepted by Allah, just as legal, medical, and other professionals must approach their jobs in strict compliance with their codes and ethics and not the way they like. Apart from being one of the pivots of Islam as a religion, Hajj is unifying. Like other pillars, that is Salat, Zakat, and fasting in Ramadan, Hajj brings together Muslims across nations, races, and tribes, gather at a time in Mecca and Medina to worship God. One remembers that 5 daily prayers brings Muslims in the same neighborhood together. The weekly Jumat brings Muslims in different communities together. The annual Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Kabir bring Muslims who live apart together. But Hajj brings nations together to foster unity among them, as God is of monotheism. Hajj cleanses man from sins such that one returns from the journey like the day one was born. Prophet Muhammad is reported to have said that whoever performs Hajj in the way God has prescribed, the Muslim just becomes a newborn with no sin at all. This shows that Hajj is beyond sightseeing on an excursion. Besides, Hajj as a form of worship in Islam is a leveler. It brings everybody together before Allah on a common platform. Monarchs are not different from subjects. No emperors, dukes, duchesses do it their own way. Everybody appears in the same ihram apparel, just reminding one of the day everybody will file out of their graves before Allah to have result of their deeds on earth. After completing Hajj rites, pilgrims are permitted to trade and engage in merchandise or continue to visit historical places before their return journey. It has to be made clear here that whoever has performed Hajj has concurrently performed Umrah, and Hajj is just once in a lifetime. There is no point going bankruptcy to renew Hajj. Nothing like Hajj renewal in Islam. And for those who continue to deliberately commit sins to Allah and infractions to fellow beings only to quickly rush to Umrah, it is a sheer waste of resources. Allah has said repeatedly in the Quran that there will be no recompense for sins committed advertently and repeatedly. Hajj is expected to change a pilgrim from bad to better, as explained by Prophet Muhammad. One is not, however, surprised that quite a handful of pilgrims returns to their vomit because they embarked on the journey for reasons other than worship. On return from Hajj, some celebrate with alcohol, adultery, and fornication resume. The new Al-Hajjis and Al-Hajjas move away from mosque and even fast during Ramadan as their own comfort demands. All these are not enough for anybody to rubbish Hajj. The fact that a few medical doctors smoke doesn't mean medical practice supports smoke. We cannot dump the police force into the garbage site because some officers and men take bribe and kill. The police have a lot of responsible officers, and the fact that some journalists have chosen to be yellow sensational and destructively critical should not cast aspersions on all newsmen. For those who have prepared and paid all necessary fares and fees but cannot make it to Hajj this year, we say, as the Prophet explained, verse 284 of chapter 2 of the Quran, that the reward is doubled for a Muslim who intends to worship or do a good but is incapacitated by whatever means. The next Hajj is around the corner. Allah says, you think it is distant, but it is close by. Let us prepare for next Hajj by increasing our Iman and virtuous deeds. Our daily prayers, fasting Ramadan, and extending us to the poor are of greater reward. As we pray for those on Hajj to return home safely, as they complete the rites, we equally enjoin them to pray for a peaceful world, Nigeria and nation, particularly as the election draws nearer.
That's News Talk by Oluwatoyin Yusuf of our editorial desk, examining the unique features of Hajj which make it stands out as a pillar of Islam and a unifying factor among Muslims the world over. For more stories, you can visit our website osbcng.org. Thanks for listening. Good morning.
Ìròyìn ní kùtù àìrè o lórí rédíò Ọ̀ṣun. Ìròyìn ní kùtù àìrè o lórí rédíò Ọ̀ṣun. Ìròyìn tó yè koro, ẹ̀kọ́ tó múnádóko la ní kí ẹ wá gbọ́ o lórí rédíò Ọ̀ṣun.
Ẹ kú ojúmọ́, ìròyìn ní kutuai. Abíọ́lá Adédòkun lóníròyìn. Ṣáájú ẹgbọ́ kókó tó wà nínú ìròyìn náà. Ṣáájú ìdìbò gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun tí yóò wáyé, gómìnà Oyètọ́lá ti sọ pé ìjákulẹ̀ kò lè bá òun. Àwọn mẹ́rin ti dèrò ọ̀run látàrí ìjì ńlá tó jà ní Yobe. Ìpàdé àpérò àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè alágbára méje ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní Germany, tí ọ̀rọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè Ukraine sì jẹ́ kókó ohun tí wọn yóò mẹ́nu bà níbi ìpàdé ọ̀hún. Ìròyìn ọ̀rẹ́ lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Adégbóyèga Oyètọ́lá ti sọ pé òun yóò jáwé olúborí nínú ìdìbò gómìnà tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà lọ́jọ́ 16 oṣù keje ọdún yìí, tó sì ní kò sí ìjákulẹ̀ fún òun rárá. Ó sọ eléyìí lásìkò tó ń bá àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ tó ń tún ẹ̀rọ tó ń lo iná ṣe ẹ̀ka ti ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun sọ̀rọ̀ lákòókò ìpàdé èyí tí ọ́fíìsì iléeṣẹ́ tó ń rí sí ìtanijí aráàlú ṣe pẹ̀lú wọn. Gómìnà Oyètọ́lá sọ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ipa ni ìjọba tó ń darí rẹ̀ ti sà, èyí tó ti mú kí ìdàgbàsókè bá ìpínlẹ̀ yìí, tí yóò sì mú kí òun jáwé olúborí nínú ìdìbò náà. Gómìnà ẹni tí olùdámọ̀ràn pàtàkì fún gómìnà lórí ìtanijí aráàlú Ọ̀nàrẹ́bù Ọlátúbọ̀sún Oyètúnlóye ṣojú fún wòye pé ẹ̀sùn tí àwọn ẹgbẹ́ alátakò fi ń kùn níbi ètò ìpolongo wọn kò lè dá jíjáwé olúborí òun níbi ìdìbò tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà náà dúró. Ó sọ lọ́kùnjọ̀kan àṣeyọrí ìjọba tó ń darí rẹ̀ lẹ́kàǹkà. Gómìnà wá rọ àwọn olùdìbò láti lọ gba ojúlówó káàdì ìdìbò wọn láti lè ṣe àtìlẹ́yìn fún òun nínú ìdìbò tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà. Wáyé olónìí ní ikọ̀ ìpolongo àtúnyàn gómìnà Adégbóyèga Oyètọ́lá yóò lọ sí ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ ìdàgbàsókè àárín gbùngbùn ìlà oòrùn Ifẹ̀, àríwá Ifẹ̀, ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ ìdàgbàsókè ìwọ̀ oòrùn Ifẹ̀ àti Ifẹ̀ North Area Council. Àtẹ̀jáde tí adarí ètò ìròyìn nínú ikọ̀ ìpolongo náà, Olúọmọ Sunday Akéré fi síta fi hàn pé gómìnà làwọn adarí ẹgbẹ́ náà yóò bá kọ́wọ́rìn lọ sí ààfin Ògúnṣọ́ àti Mọdákẹ́kẹ́ láti lọ ṣe bàbá kẹ̀pẹ́ níbẹ̀. Ní area office ní gómìnà yóò ti bá àwọn èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀ ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ St Stephen's School Mọdákẹ́kẹ́, níbi tí yóò ti sọ àwọn àṣeyọrí láti bí ọdún 3 ààbọ̀ sẹ́yìn níwájú àwọn ìyálọ́jà, bàbálọ́jà àti gbogbo àwọn èèyàn lápapọ̀. Níjọba ìbílẹ̀ Ifẹ̀ ní gómìnà yóò ti kàn sí ààfin Apẹ̀tùmọdò ti Ìpẹ̀tùmọdò ṣáájú kó tó lọ báwọn èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀ ní ọjà Ìpẹ̀tùmọdò. Wàyí ipò ìpolongo àtúnyàn gómìnà ti ké sí àwọn èèyàn ìpínlẹ̀ yìí láti tẹ̀síwájú nípa títẹ̀lé òfin nínú yòówù tí wọ́n bá ń ṣe. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣèlérí ìdánilójú ìpèsè ààbò látọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba nígbà gbogbo. Ọkùnrin ẹni 30 ọdún kan tí wọ́n pe orúkọ rẹ̀ ní Èbùbè Ọba ni wọ́n ti fẹ̀sùn kàn pé ó gbẹ̀mí obìnrin ọlọ́mọ méjì kan àti alájọgbé rẹ̀ lásìkò tí wọ́n ń jà. Ìwádìí fi hàn pé àìgbọ́ra-ẹni-yé náà bẹ́ sílẹ̀ láàrin Èbùbè àti olóògbé ọ̀hún tí wọ́n ń pe orúkọ rẹ̀ ní Izumaka Epe, èyí tó yọrí sí ìjà. Nínú àtẹ̀jáde kan tí agbẹnusọ fún iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá DSP Chukwu Ekenga fi síta fi hàn pé ẹni tí wọ́n fura sí ọ̀hún ni wọ́n ti fi páńpẹ́ òfin gbé báyìí. DSP Ekenga sọ pé ọ̀gbẹ́ni Èbùbè ló fi ẹ̀ṣẹ́ gbá olóògbé ọ̀hún láyà àti ojú ṣáájú kó tó ṣubú lulẹ̀, tí wọ́n sì gbé lọ sí ilé ìwòsàn láti bẹ̀, ṣùgbọ́n tí dókítà sọ pé ó ti jáde láyé. Wàyí ọ̀gá ọlọ́pàá ìpínlẹ̀ náà CP Ekenga ti gba àwọn èèyàn níyànjú láti ṣọ́ra fún ìbínú nítorí pé ó léwu púpọ̀ tó sì lè yọrí sí ikú. Àwọn èèyàn 4 ti di èrò ọ̀run tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ sì farapa nígbà tí àwọn ilé bíi 43 sì ti bàjẹ́ látàrí ìjì alátẹ́gùn tó jà ní Damanturu nípínlẹ̀ Yobe. Ìjì ńlá alátẹ́gùn náà ló jà fún bíi 20 ìṣẹ́jú tí ìròyìn sì fi yé ni pé ó ba ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ilé jẹ́ lágbègbè ọ̀hún. Nígbà tó ń fìdí èyí múlẹ̀ fáwọn oníròyìn, olùdarí iléeṣẹ́ tó ń rí sí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ pàjáwìrì nípínlẹ̀ náà Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Muhammadu Gòjé ló ti sọ pé kò sí ẹni tí ó kú, ṣùgbọ́n tí wọ́n gbé àwọn 17 kúrò níbi ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ náà tí wọ́n sì ń gba ìtọ́jú lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ nílé ìwòsàn ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀hún tó wà ní Damanturu. Bákan náà ni àwọn olùgbé Damanturu ṣàlàyé pé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ náà tó jẹ́ èyí tó sábà máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́dọọdún ni wọ́n fi ké sí ìjọba láti wá ojútùú sí bí ohun gbogbo ṣe rí. Ilé Àwíyé Òkè Baálẹ̀ Ṣògo láti ń ròyìn láti iléeṣẹ́ rédíò Ọ̀ṣun alórèwọ̀ oòrùn ilẹ̀ yìí ẹgbẹ́ ìmọ̀ràn tá a ní fún yín òwúrọ̀ ló jẹ́ ọjọ́ tuntun àti ìgbà tuntun láti àárọ̀ yìí lọ o gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe gbé ìgbé ayé tuntun tí yóò mú kí ohun gbogbo kó rọrùn fún ọ láti gbé lọ́nà àti lè jẹ́ ẹni tí yóò tẹ̀síwájú nínú ohun gbogbo. Ní báyìí àlùfáà ìjọ kátólíìkì tó wà ní ẹ́sàkọ̀ tí àwọn ajínigbé jí gbé tẹ́lẹ̀ ní ìròyìn fi yé ni pé ó ti di èrò ọ̀run báyìí. Reverend Father Christopher Odia ni àwọn ajínigbé gbẹ̀mí rẹ̀ ní àárọ̀ àná ní nǹkan aago 6 ìdájí. Ìwádìí fi hàn pé lákòókò tí Reverend Father Odia ń bá ìsìn lọ nílé ìjọsìn St. Michael Catholic Church Ìkàgbò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Edo ni àwọn èèyàn náà jí gbé lọ títí tó fi jáde láyé. Òun ni olùṣàkóso ìjọ St. Michael Catholic Church Ìkàgbò, òun sì tún ni olùkọ́ àgbà ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ St. Philip's Catholic Secondary School tí ó wà lágbègbè ọ̀hún. Ẹni ọdún 41 ni àlùfáà náà ṣe. Ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Zamfara ti fàláṣẹ fún ọ̀gá ọlọ́pàá ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀hún ọ̀gbẹ́ni Ayuba Elikana láti fún àwọn olùgbé ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀hún ní ìwé àṣẹ àti ṣàmúlò ìbọn fún àti lè dáàbò bo ara wọn. Nínú àtẹ̀jáde kan tí kọmíṣánná fétò ìròyìn nípínlẹ̀ náà ọ̀gbẹ́ni Ibrahim Magaji fi síta lélẹ́yìí ti jẹyọ. Ìgbésẹ̀ náà kò ṣẹ̀yìn bí àìsí ààbò ti ṣe ń peléke sí nípínlẹ̀ ọ̀hún. Ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ náà tún pa láṣẹ fún olóríjorí láti múra sílẹ̀ fún níní ìbọn tara wọn tí wọn yóò fi máa dáàbò bo ara wọn lọ́wọ́ àwọn onísùmọ̀mí tó gba ìpínlẹ̀ náà. Àtẹ̀jáde ọ̀hún wòye pé ìjọba ti ṣetán láti ṣe agbátẹrù ètò ọ̀hún fáwọn aráàlú, ní pàtàkì àwọn àgbẹ̀ lẹ́sẹ̀ kúkú láti lè pèsè ohun ìjà tí wọn yóò fi máa dáàbò bo ara wọn nínú oko. Ó fi kún pé ìjọba ti parí gbogbo ètò láti pín 500 ìwé àkọọ́lẹ̀ fún ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá ṣetán láti ní ìbọn fún àti dáàbò bo ara rẹ̀. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí kọmíṣánná náà ti ṣe wí, wọn yóò ṣí ibùdó kan tí wọn yóò ti máa gbọ́ nípa bí ohun gbogbo bá ti ṣe ń lọ lórí àrọ̀ àwọn onísùmọ̀mí. Ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè Amẹ́ríkà ọ̀gbẹ́ni Joe Biden àti ojúgbà rẹ̀ láti àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè olókoòwò alágbára lágbàáyé ti kórajọpọ̀ sí Germany ṣáájú kí wọ́n tó tẹ̀síwájú fún ìjíròrò pẹ̀lú NATO. Ìròyìn fi yé ni pé àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ìfẹsẹ̀múlẹ̀ ọrọ̀ ajé àti àyípadà ètò ìlera àti okòwò ni wọn yóò jíròrò lé lórí níbi ìpàdé náà. Ètò ọlọ́jọ́ mẹ́ta ọ̀hún ni yóò tún bójú wo ìgbésẹ̀ tó kàn láti gbé lórí rògbòdìyàn tó ń fi orílẹ̀-èdè Ukraine lápò. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ẹgbọ́ kókó inú ìròyìn yìí, gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ọ̀gbẹ́ni Adégbóyèga Oyètọ́lá ti sọ pé òun yóò jáwé olúborí nínú ìdìbò gómìnà tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà lọ́jọ́ 16 oṣù tó ń bọ̀, tó sì ní kò sí ìjákulẹ̀ nínú òun rárá. Àwọn èèyàn 4 ti dèrò ọ̀run tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ sì farapa nígbà tí àwọn ẹlẹ́bi 23 sì bàjẹ́ látàrí ìjà alátẹ́gùn tó jà ní Damantoro ní ìpínlẹ̀ Yobe. Ìpàdé àpérò àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè alágbára 7 ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní Germany tí ọ̀rọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè Ukraine sì jẹ́ ara kókó tí wọn yóò mẹ́nubà níbi ìpàdé wọn ọ̀hún. Èyí ló pin ìròyìn ní kutuai. Nathaniel Oyègòkè lólóòtú, Abíọ́lá Adédòkun ni mo wá sétí gbọ̀yìn. Èrò tiwa tòní